if you do what I say and not what I do, you won't have to go through what I recently went through. This is what remains after a swarm, at least after a recent swarm I had when collecting honey down in South Florida. I took my hives down to Southeast Florida to collect Brazilian pepper. There's also a bunch of alligator weed down there and some other random wildflowers. Came down there, dropped them off in September, came back end of November to pick them up, and must have been maybe no more than a week before I got there, or maybe just a few days before I got there, I had a swarm, probably a week. But the swarm happened, and I was left with this. Ants came in here, took over. The population dwindled down. Actually, now that I think about it, it's probably 2 weeks at least, because there wasn't much brood in it when I got back. It's pretty much bull ants, which I'll show you. They really just wreak havoc. Don't put your boxes too close together, especially not in Florida. Can you see down in there? Look at those ants, bull ants. That's their nest down there. And then we got carpenter ants making a hole in this thing right here. It's just insane. We got such an ant problem here in Florida. Probably chewed out larvae. I don't know if they eat sugar or not, but they were all over the place. We also had a bunch of hive moths and a lot of beetle larvae, hive beetle larvae. That box right there in the middle is the kind of the dead box. Let me see if I can show you some of these worms. There's some kind of, look at them all. Ugh. I don't know if this can pick that up. Yeah, it's got to be able to. See all those worms crawling around? Those came out of that dead hive. And there's some big ones in there too. I don't know what, I'm sure there's some kind of moth, some kind of wax moth or something. But there's some really large worms in there, and then those little worms. Now let's get a stick on the ground. My chickens know what's going on over here, so they want some of the action. But oh, this guy's still alive. It's been real cold the past couple days. I thought these things would die off, but I guess they're resilient. Here we go. I think this is wax moth larva. Let me see if I can show you that thing. Try to focus on it for you. Oh, he fell. I got it. I got it. I got it. Don't worry about it. He's alive. That's why he's hard to keep still. See that thing? That is a wax moth larva, or some kind of moth that eats wax and everything else inside that hive. I'll feed it to a chicken. But these things, they wreak havoc. Here, bird, eat that. Come on, eat it. There's also these little cocoons. I'll see if I can find some. Here's some right down here. Oh, this thing is focusing. I just pulled 2 of them off. So these are little cocoons after they're through their, I guess they pupate in there, and then, or maybe this is where they pupate. This is where they're going from a larva to a, what do you call it? A moth. Watch this. Oh, I think I squished it. I can't get this one open, so I'll just give it to a bird. Here you go, bird. But anyway, they make their little cocoons and they live in there until they become a moth. So what I had when I picked up, or what I found when I picked up my hives from the Brazilian pepper pull, was I had 7 hives out there. I had done a walkaway split. This wasn't one of those. The walkaway split worked and produced a good amount of honey. Same with the hive that it came from. This was, I guess, just a weak hive when I took it down. I couldn't really say. I thought it was doing good. But it eventually swarmed or something or died off. But nonetheless, this is what happened to it. I didn't realize that. When I put it in the bed back of the truck, I knew it was kind of light. But when I got to where I was going, the orange groves, when I lifted it up to pull it out, there was a ball of hive beetle larvae balled up underneath it, under the screen bottom board. I guess they came through that little crack, got through there. But anyway, they were just loaded up underneath the hive when I got where I was going. So I was like, oh great, I got probably a dead hive or some kind of bad problem. Well, of course I lifted the frame, I lifted the hive body out, or the top off, and that's what I was left with. And this thing, this was loaded with a lot of honey. So this was a box that was, I think, on top of another deep body, and man, they just, ugh, I just tore it up. there's not really much we can do, or what I'm about to show you next isn't really going to prevent the problem that we had right here. However, this same thing can happen if you do your extraction and store your frames just in the garage, like I did the first time I ever did an extraction. I quickly learned and have changed my method, and that's why I'm filming this video. So I hope you learned something from what I'm about to show you. If you're a small operation like I am, this can work out. If you're a large operation, not so much. It'd be a lot of work, or you could do it in a larger scale, maybe on pallets, wrap the whole pallets. But let's get after it. This is the product of learning the hard way. After my first extraction a few years back from a hive I had in my backyard, I let the bees clean up the comb in the backyard. Once that was all cleaned up, after a day or two of leaving it out there, I put it in the garage, closed everything up, thought I closed everything up, and came back whenever I needed those frames to find that the bugs had gotten in there and chewed all the wax up and burrowed through there, and there was wax moth larvae and all sorts of stuff in there, roaches. It was gross. So what I did is I went to Amazon. The next time I extracted, I went to Amazon, got myself some cellophane, and I wrapped these things. However, before I wrap, let me show you what I do. Each frame spends 24 hours, at least 24 hours, in a deep freezer. That ensures any kind of eggs, larvae, whatever that's been put in there, either right before the extraction or during cleanup, when it's just sitting in the backyard getting all cleaned up, is sure to die. So I have before seen larvae come out of this, coming out of the wax sometimes during the freezing process. Little tiny, I don't know what they are. I think they're hive beetle larvae. But either way, freezing for an hour. After they're nice, freezing for a day. After they're nice and frozen, I wrap one time like this and one time like this. I stack this on a piece of wood in the garage, and then I'll stack each subsequent box on top. And each of these layers of cellophane acts like a gasket to keep the predators out. So far I've been successful with this method. This is the second year I've done this. Today's December. I say second year. Second time I've done it. I did it earlier this year from maybe after Tupelo. I think that's what it was. I can't remember. An extraction then, and then now I just got done with Brazilian pepper. It's the beginning of December right now. I extracted on the 28th or 29th or something. I think it was 28th of December. I'm sorry, November. And I won't need these frames again until February for orange blossom. So I don't have that many hives. For me to do this with the, I think 8 or 9 supers that I used for, or that actually got filled up during Brazilian pepper, isn't really that big a chore. If you're a monster, you got a lot of frames, a lot of hive bodies. I guess indoor storage is best for you. However, for my little operation, the cellophane method works just fine, keeps the bugs out. So this is just me wanting to show you what I do. If you got any suggestions, maybe a better way, by all means, let me know.